welcome back. Yahoo! You gotta love these washes, huh?
That's all they have around here.
Yeah. Wait. Oh, don't hit that. Go around this one. Wait, go around that tree. Whoa. Wait, let's go this way. Whoa, that's kicking the butt here. We're having too much fun, guys. Too much fun. Okay, here we go. Wait. Uh-oh.
Right here?
Wait, what the heck are you thinking? Oh, wait, you're not driving, right? I'm driving.
Yeah,
How about
he's driving.
Here we go. Oh, right here.
Right here? Oh, this is a good spot.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another Friday edition of Q&A. And yeah, that's what we've been doing for the last hour, is running around in these washes. And this one here is particularly sandy.
Very much so.
And you know what you got to do when you get into the sand? Speed is your friend.
Yeah.
All the time. Speed is your friend. Okay, well, here we are. A Friday Q&A. Now, okay, so you guys are going to hear this tomorrow in Saturday's video. I talk about it. We have decided that we are going to do only Friday Q&As from now on instead of Monday and Friday, because I don't know, it just kind of seemed redundant a little bit.
A little bit, and the questions are kind of dropping off.
Yeah, a little bit. And the nice thing about doing Friday instead of Monday is that come Friday, we can talk all about our week.
Yeah.
What we did, where we went, so on and so forth. Mm-hmm. So from here forward, and it kind of frees up our production schedule a little bit. So from here forward, it'll just be Fridays, guys. Okay, so what are we getting into first?
First, should we do Q&A or should we do what we have?
No, we gotta do rocks.
Oh,
you guys
do rocks.
Oh,
first?
you gotta see these.
See the rocks.
Oh, these are so cool. Oh, you're gonna love these. Okay, so once again, we headed on down to Quartzsite and hit our favorite place and found some absolutely gorgeous specimens. You guys are gonna love this. So the first one I want to show you is called
Tourmaline.
Black Tourmaline. Okay, all right, let's switch over to this camera. Now, it's cloudy outside today, and there's a lot of fires going on in Southern California around the San Bernardino area, and all that smoke is blowing our direction. So not only is it kind of cloudy today, it's a little bit smoky out here. Mm-hmm. And so I wish we had some sunshine, because then you could really see what's going on with this specimen. Now, when I was younger, I used to collect tourmaline, and because you could go and walk around in Wyoming and you could find pegmatites, mm-hmm. because that's where tourmaline comes from, especially black tourmaline. And you could get into those pegmatites and chip away all day long and find really cool specimens of black tourmaline. All right, well, in places like Brazil and what was the other one I was reading about? There's one more. The pegmatites are absolutely huge, and when they get that big, you can get yourself a piece of tourmaline that's this size right here instead of the ones that are about the diameter of a quarter. Look at that monker right there. And what I like about this, see, you can't find this in Wyoming, because in Wyoming it's just pure black and it doesn't have much of the like gloss to it.
Yeah.
But in these other countries, they get it with mica. You can see the mica and schist running through here, just absolutely beautiful. And the tourmaline itself is actually glossy instead of like flat black, like what I used to find. So I saw this piece, a little bit pricey. Like I was saying, when we buy quartzite rocks, you know, we're using our own money, so we got to mark them up a little bit. But when I saw this one, I absolutely had to have it, and we found a whole bunch more. Yeah. I think we have something like 17 total. 17 total. Yep.
3 of the larger pieces, and then as we'll show you in a minute, a couple of the smaller ones also.
Yep. And this is the largest of the bunch.
Yes.
Pretty darn cool. Okay, so head on down to the description area of this video, click on my eBay site, Hidden Treasures Abound. That'll take you where you need to go, and then you can look at close-up pictures of this specimen under the right kind of lighting. All right, let's look at the next one. Gosh, that is such a cool piece. All right.
Smaller variety.
Oh, okay. Smaller variety. Yep. Same thing. Smaller. Just to kind of give you an idea of... Okay, right here. There you go. So what we're doing is we're calling these mediums. And the reason that it says medium in the listing is not so much because the item is like medium in size. It's because that's for us, because it fits in a medium shipper, USPS shipper. These will not fit in the small shippers without making them pregnant.
Yeah.
You don't want to make a small shipper pregnant, because the way that they're handled at the post office, there's a good chance that they could be damaged.
Yeah.
So some of them we can fit in a small, but ones like this, the mediums, you got to put them in a medium shipper so that don't get hurt. Okay, pretty neat though, pretty cool. Okay, let me put them back in there. I do love rocks.
There's some pretty ones out there.
Yeah. Oh, and then Laura picked this one out.
I thought
Guys.
it was really pretty.
Okay.
It definitely caught my eye.
Okay, so when we were running around down there, guys, Laura saw this one up on the shelf, and there was a whole bunch with it, and she said, that is just, we have to have it. Someone out there is going to have this rock, but it is not cheap. Okay, we paid a little bit for this guy, and so what we're looking at here, let's switch over to this camera. You can get a nice close up. So what you're looking at here, guys, is titanium amethyst. Now, a few weeks ago, I talked to you about the Princess Aurora quartz. All right, well, that's quartz crystals that are put into that heated high temperature pressure chamber, and then the metals are added to get this really cool coating. Okay, but this is the exact same process, but the difference is instead of quartz, we've got amethyst right here that they did the same treatment to. So you get these really awesome, like, what would you call it? Peacock.
Yeah, it's kind of a peacock-like color to it.
But the shade that you guys that are in the Jeep right now, it just doesn't do it justice.
You have to see it in person or under the lights.
You do. When you see this in person on a sunny day and take it out into the sun, it's like kapow.
Yeah.
It just throws all over the room. It's so cool. But for now, take a look at the pictures that we have on the eBay site. You're going to agree. This thing is pretty darn impressive. Yeah, that's going to make someone a very nice bookshelf rock.
Yes.
Nice pick, Laura. All right, next one. Okay. Oh, yes. Okay, so then after we went there, we went back to our favorite store and grabbed these right here. So Laura and I got to talking, and let me switch back over to this camera. Laura and I got to talking. I was like, it's November. We're coming into Thanksgiving, and then after that, of course, is Christmas and all that good stuff. So we got to find some cool stocking stuffers right now, or underwear stuffers.
Yeah.
So,
or if your kids are naughty, this can be their coal.
That's right. Okay, so stocking stuffers. Let me show you what I found. These are neat. Now, if you've never seen these before, your friends and family are going to see these up on your bookshelf, and they're going to be like, what in the heck is that? Okay, let's switch over to this one. First of all, this right here is a man-made bismuth crystal. So what I'm holding here is bismuth, and it's the exact same kind of bismuth that you would find in Pepto-Bismol. Okay. But it's made in such a way to where it grows into this crystalline form, and the bottom of it is even better yet, because you can see all of these cubicles and these really neat shapes, and the colors come from oxidation. Now, depending on the temperature, that, from what I've read, the temperature determines the level of oxidation, and the oxidation of the bismuth is what gives it this cool rainbow peacock color. Again, this shadow in here, this dim lighting doesn't do this justice, but wait until you see this in the sunshine. It's super awesome. It looks like, you know what it looks like? It looks like an Aztec pyramid.
It does, yeah.
And they grow in all these weird shapes and forms, but they're super cool. Take a look at the number of listings that we have. We grabbed a whole bunch because we know you're going to love them, and they're going to make for great gifts for your friends and family. Can't talk today. Now, the other thing is, here, I'll let you hold that one. All right, so now with your bismuth crystal, you are also going to get, this is called aluminum silicate, okay, or kyanite. Mm-hmm. All right, so the rock and gem people, they all use the word kyanite, and that's technically what it is. Kyanite is an aluminum silicate metamorphic rock, and when they bust those apart, they bust them apart in what are called blades. These are kyanite blades. Now, this one here isn't a very good example of a blade, but you'll see what I'm talking about when you get down into the listing. And then after they chip them out and make these blades, then they put them and they electroplate them. Mm-hmm. It's a similar process to what they're doing with the Princess Aurora quartz as well as the titanium amethyst. And once they electroplate them, this is what you get, this really super cool blade right here. And we picked out, let me put it to you this way. When you go to a rock and mineral store, the last thing that they want you doing is being all picky. Mm-hmm. You know, usually they're laying out like box flats, and it's like you got to pay for the flat.
Get what's in there.
Exactly. Yeah. So you're getting the good with the with the bad, etc. But we're starting to develop a relationship with the people that own this rock shop, and they allowed us to pick and choose. So we went through and picked some of the best pieces of the flats, and you'll see them in the listing. I love these things because when you combine them with the bismuth, they just like go kapow.
Yeah.
You know, if you had them displayed in say like a picture frame or on a bookshelf or something, super duper cool.
Very eye-catching.
Yes. Alrighty. Well, there we go. I'll hand that back to you, and those are going to go in here. Okay. All right. Super cool stuff, guys. And we're going to be doing this all winter long. Usually we'll be going down there, like, say, I don't know, once every 2, once every 3 weeks. Yeah. It all depends.
Depending on how much we get.
Yeah, exactly. And depends on how much you buy and how much we're moving. Now the neat thing is now all of this is for the fundraiser for the channel, because what we're trying to do is we're trying to pool in as much money as possible, because we've got some big ideas for our new channel, Adventure Coolness. And I've talked about this in the past. In one of the Q&As, there's a few more things that we need to do in order to set that up and get it the way that I want to get it. And of course, that's going to take a little bit of money, and that's why we're selling rocks. And we certainly don't want to have to start doing in-channel promotion or in-channel advertising like NordVPN and all that kind of stuff. That's why we sell rocks, to bring in a little extra income into the channel without ruining each and every episode with a whole bunch of crazy advertisements.
Yeah.
All right, let's get on with the Q&A.
All right, Q&A.
Okay.
Let's see. First question of the day is from Robert Vega. They said, "Hi, Laura and Gly. We have learned what footer and hanging walls are, and that the vein material is usually between those two walls.
Yep.
How does the vein material get there? Does it push up and spread the walls apart, or is there an existing hollow between the walls that the vein fills?"
Good question. Okay, so typically it's an existing hollowed out area. Okay, so I want you to imagine, let's think about plate tectonics for a second here. Okay, now before all of the uplifting occurred within our mountain ranges, everything was flat. Okay, and what I mean by flat is that most everything, especially in areas of inland seas or shallow shorelines, everything is ocean bottom. Now, when the plates crashed into each other, they buckled and uplifted, and during that uplifting process is what created our mountain ranges. During that process, you get a lot of faulting and fracturing within the limestone rocks. If you go back to a lot of our Nevada episodes, you'll see that a lot of the ore that they're high grading is in between cracks or faults of uplifted dolomite limestone. Well, that limestone, like I was saying, used to be flat. That was ocean bottom sediment laid down by trillions and trillions of tiny little microorganisms, specks and seashells and this and that, layered, 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 and then when it uplifted, it cracked, and you got the mountains that you see today, the limestone mountains. Fast forward, all of a sudden, you get a hot spot underneath the continent. And that hot spot is going to create hydrothermal features. It's, as the Pacific plate is dipping down under the North American plate, as it's doing so, it's also carrying with it a lot of water that's in those layers. And as it goes deeper and deeper, a hot spot forms, and that water has to go somewhere. So what it does is it goes upwards, up through all the cracks, and creates these geothermal features, okay, or hydrothermal features, and it grabs in a lot of the metals and minerals that are with it, and it goes up, and it gets into all these cracks and all of these faults and fissures, and those things eventually, as they cool, they start to solidify. And so think about it like this. When you've got like hot steam, okay, here's a good way of looking at it. When you've got like, think about Yellowstone National Park, okay, and Old Faithful Geyser. Now, as that hot steam year after year is coming up through those fissures, layers and layers and layers are building on the walls, and eventually the day will come when Old Faithful will be no more. Because it finally sealed up because of the solidifying and filling up that space. The same thing with veins. The veins that we're finding in these mines and the ore bodies. So you had a void, and that void was filled up with all of these goodies until it finally solidified and filled. But as it was doing so, it was bringing with it all of those, all the gold particles, all the colloidal gold, and condensing it in these both tabular veins, as well as, what was the other? You have tabular, and then you have lensed. And that's what we've been finding.
All right. Next question is from Terry Bemis. Said, "Hi y'all, I have a question. Have you ever found any material or rocks that you couldn't identify, like a chunk of meteor or something that just didn't look right?"
I did. Me and Mr. M we were reconning a mine in Southern California. It was over there by 29 Palms. And we got into this mine, and there was this stuff on the walls, and at first we thought it was moss. It was so bizarre. And we're looking at it, was like, what is this stuff? Is it moss? Is it guano? What is it? Because when we looked at it, it looked like felt, or not felt, like velvet. It was velvet, but when I looked at it underneath my loupe, it was crystalline, but the crystals were so small, but they were very hard. It wasn't like you could mush them or smush them with your finger, but it was it was like walls of this black velvet all over the place. And for the life of me, I could not figure out what that stuff is. I have never seen it before in my life. I got back. I went online. I'm trying to figure. I could not figure it out. And if we get a chance, I want to take you to that mine.
Petrified pack rat?
No. This stuff is really bizarre. And it was. You know what? It never fails. Whenever I don't have my cameras with me and I'm just out, fooling around, it's always when I find something that's just off the hook, I need to start carrying the cameras with me 100% of the time. I should have, I didn't even think about taking my cell phone and turning that on and getting some shots of it. But wild stuff, guys. Yeah, that is one instance of something that I found that I could not figure out, never seen before, and couldn't explain.
All right, next question is from Nikki Peterson. She said, a couple of questions for you down the road. What types of things do you carry in your backpacks? And without having your decades of rock knowledge or experience, is there a good website for us amateurs that can identify types of rocks and minerals?
Okay, as far as the website goes, absolutely head on over to geology.com. I use geology.com a whole bunch. I head over there and look at different things. They've got a really nice website, and it's kind of like tuned or dialed in for the amateur geologist, like me and like you guys, because that's what we are. We're amateur geologists, amateur rock hounds. Great site. The other part of the question was,
what do we carry in our backpacks?
In our backpacks. Okay, so my backpack contains a water bladder. It contains an extra headlamp, extra batteries for my headlamp, extra SD cards for all of my cameras. It also contains a tourniquet, a snake bite kit, bandages, coagulant for big cuts. The tourniquets so that you can put that around your foot if you blow your foot off with a stick of dynamite. The snake bite kit is the simple kind. It's just one of those suction cup kind. You can put that on, and then it kind of pulls on the venom just a little bit, just so that so that you can get to the hospital. Okay. What else does it have in there? Let me think. Oh, there's some granola bars in there that are probably 100 years old.
Petrified.
Petrified. What else in there? Some string in case I needed to tie off anything. And just a few other things. I don't get too crazy with my pack. I have whittled it down. Oh, I've also got one of those flashlights that, like, heaven forbid, I get a mine collapses and I'm stuck down there for days and days, because with the amount of batteries that I have right now, I did the math. I can stay underground in twilight mode for around 14 days. 2 weeks. 2 weeks in twilight mode.
You had 2 weeks to dig yourself out.
2 weeks to dig myself out. I'm going to run out of food and water before that happens. But let's say if all those batteries died, then I've got one of those backup flashlights where you kind of like go zit, 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 and it charges the light.
Yeah.
And then that would be like your final resort light. I have one of them too. But that is about it. I don't want to go into these mines packed too heavy. I used to do that. And I was like, what am I carrying this for? What am I carrying that for? And I whittled it down to what I think is going to be, appropriate for just about every situation and scenario.
Yep. Now, a few of the other things that I have, I have an extra, probably the most crucial thing in my pack is extra glasses, because God forbid, if something were to happen to the ones that I wear, I would be blind as a bat. So I have those. I also have snacks. I have a headlamp, a little clicky flashlight for as a last resort, and I think that's about it in my pack. I also have a small little first aid kit too, plus the water. You guys can tell we have it's pretty much it's the same pack. We just have a few different items in there.
Yeah. Yep. And what else was I gonna say about packs? I don't carry around things that I would use for like digging myself out, because I'm not gonna first of all, I'm not gonna put myself in a situation where I would have to dig myself out, because I know enough about geology and mine layout to either go or not go. Like, over in California, there's a whole lot of mines that are in alluvium, or they're underground placer, basically. And it's just they just burrow into all of this cobble. Boy, oh boy, that stuff could. I would never go. I would never go into a mine like that. So that's why I don't carry a lot of like dig out tools and things like that, because I'm not going to go into a mine that you would ever need something like that. It's just not going to be the kind that would collapse on you. So it boils down to experience and your gut feeling as to what you're going to take with you.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, final question is by In the Area. He said, "Hello, Gly and Laura. I'd like to know how you handle the sound in your videos. Do you use software to automatically synchronize the audio and video, or do you do it the old-fashioned way with a clapperboard or other loud noise?"
Okay, here's how it goes. It's real easy. So I want you to use your imagination right now and imagine that Laura and I are wearing our helmets, okay? And in those helmets, I have a field recorder on the back of both of them. And then there's a wire that goes to a lavalier microphone that goes right up underneath and sits under the brim of the helmet. And then underneath that is a dead cat to keep the wind noise out of the microphone. Okay, before we start, we clap in. I just go 3, 2, 1. Okay, that creates a spike in the audio. Okay, once I get it back. When I get it back, I dump that into the into Premiere Pro. I put line 1 audio, line 2 audio, which is hers. Okay, and I highlight the 2, go up there, hit synchronize, and those claps go and they line right in. Okay, and then what I do after they're all lined in, I zoom in on them real close so that they are as close as possible. Okay, and then once that they are, then I take both those clips individually and I throw them into Adobe Audition, and then I use different plugins to clean up the audio. It cleans up wind noise. It cleans up there's a anti-wind noise, a declicker element, and so on and so forth. So I clean it up the best that I can, and then I import it back into Premiere Pro. And then once I do that, then I bring in all of my video clips, add that with the audio clips, go up, highlight again, hit sync on the video clips, because each and every camera has its own audio too, and then those go and sync right in, okay? And once everything is perfectly lined up and the clips are lined out, then I just start editing out across the build is what I do. But it's I know it sounded complex, but believe it or not, it's really quite simple. Yeah. What was really hard was back in the day when I had to do audio for me, Mr. M, Randy, plus, what was it, 1, 2, 3, 4, it was 5 in-cab cameras going on. And boy, oh boy, then audio was a real trick to get it right, because if you didn't have it perfect, what it did is it created this really crazy echo effect, because each and every camera was a little bit further or a little bit away. But by the use of Adobe Audition with plugins, I figured out how to very quickly clean that kind of stuff up. And that's why you don't hear a lot of that weird echo in my audio. Unless, of course, if you do hear an echo, that's not the audio you're hearing. It's just because we're in a mine that is acting like an echo chamber. Yep. Is why. Yeah. But that's how it's done. Pretty darn simple.
All right. Well, that's all we have for this Friday.
Is that it?
That's it.
Okay. So what do we got coming up? Okay, so we have to go. We got some recon we got to do. Mm-hmm. I'm hoping that the next one we're going after is going to be better than the one that they're going to see tomorrow. Well, I'm sorry, guys. Tomorrow's
kind of embarrassing.
It's very embarrassing. Well, you just don't know until you go. I thought that they were. I don't know. Just watch. You'll see what we're talking about. I do my very best each and every week, guys, to hit it out of the park. I really do. I try to find really good locations and cool stuff. I try to stay away from the whack mines or what we call the Dudleys. Mm-hmm. And so I had these big ideas to go back to a couple of locations that I was running around before I started my YouTube channel, as well as when I was running around solo. And so this last week we went to those mines. Really hard to get to. Took hours to get there, and then when we finally did, it was like, Oh, this is horrible. We're not going in those. But hey, we turn lemons into lemonade.
Yeah.
We always do, and it was still a fun day.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we saw a lot of neat scenery. It's just the Arizona desert is absolutely beautiful.
Yeah.
But it's not the best mines you've ever seen, but it was still a fun day. I still think you should watch, and you see what I'm talking about. It was neat. We saw some neat stuff along the way. So, all right. Well, with that, I think we're going to get on out of here. Thanks for coming along for another Q&A. Don't forget to bid on the rocks. It helps us out tremendously because we've got big ideas for the channel as well as Adventure Coolness coming up. And when I kick that channel off, I want it to be just spectacular because that's what I do. Because my dad taught me, you either do it the right way or you don't do it at all. That's me. All right, guys. Thanks again for coming along. And we'll see you all again sometime down the road. Take care now. Bye-bye.